Funk Master Willis wants to know, do you find the need for a social media presence to be a burden as a musician?
Do I need it?
Or,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was worded weird. Will, get your shit straight.
I think it's pretty stressful that it's pretty much non-optional at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like if you like it and you're good at it, it can be really fun. It can be a really great way to interact with people who listen to your music, and for you to to express yourself and be creative, and there are good parts of it, but if you don't like it, then you get a lot of flack. On the business side, it can feel very overwhelming when you're like forced to use it. It can feel kind of false at times. Like I've had experiences where, it's like a big press day and I need to be posting these things and like hyping something up, but it's like I wake up and there was like a shooting, like
Right.
in my hometown, or, and it's like,
Right.
okay, so I have to
Hey
go on
guys,
Instagram,
what's up?
and
Doing
it's
this thing.
it can really
Yeah.
feel it can feel kind of toxic and false at times when you have to do it in that way. But I've found that I sort of hang out in like a middle ground where I don't feel like I'm like constantly on the
Yeah.
thing. Like I try to use it as like a sort of face-to-face tool.
Right.
Which I think is helpful. And like I've met some really nice people, and it's also a cool way for people to reach out to me.
I saw you for the first time on Instagram in Rado's story getting a drum lesson. And then I looked you up and then saw that you made music, and that's how I found you. So it's a great like tool, but it does seem disingenuous a lot.
It really can be. And
Not yours necessarily. I'm just saying
I
the whole act of it.
I tried not to I try not to fall into like, phoning it in territory where I'm just
Right.
using it to like promote or whatever. It's like I try to keep it sort of personal in a way that a lot of people don't find appealing to use or like agree with. Like I know certain people who don't use social media for anything personal at all. They
Right.
just use it as a promotional tool. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know how much of my like I don't know how much of myself I want to put out there if it's not real.
Right. Which is, what I think having something like a long form interview does really well is like you get to see somebody for an hour straight, like be who they are.
Give people a chance to not like me.
There's vitamins in the background of this. Like
That's true.
This is just, but I agree with you completely. When I first started Instagram, my dad asked me to start his Instagram, and then he got 100,000 followers.
Why?
He does this thing called Junk Tramp, where he like builds these trampoline walls, and like people from like Cirque du Soleil and stuff come by, and
Whoa,
it's crazy. It's in his backyard, and so
your
that
dad's
happens.
killing it.
Oh, so killing it. That happens to him immediately, and I'm like scrambling to kind of figure out how to work this tool. Like I thought there was some secret, and I was just like posting 4 times a day, or
Right.
And then now I just kind of like post something that I actually did, and then don't look at my phone. Like
Yeah.
I don't go on Instagram anymore after that.
Yeah.
But it can be consuming, and I have especially felt like not less of like who I know I am inside, but, and this is the fucked up thing, sometimes I feel as if I get upset that people are viewing me in a way that I'm not. And that's how social media to me has like given me stress, because it's like a second person. Like that's not me.
Right.
Now I have to tend to this other person that people think I am.
Yeah, the persona.
The persona. And it is annoying. And I don't even have a big following or anything, but it's still like people from high school. I met people, well, they were at a bar that I was at the other day, and I hadn't seen them in like 7 years. And it was kind of awkward because they've seen me through Instagram the whole time. And so like they knew what I was up to.
Right.
But that wasn't like actually what I'm going through or who I it's not the full story.
Right. I feel like I had a lot of interactions like that. Like maybe when I was really touring a lot, I would be constantly posting photos of just like these big shows with big audiences, and it looks very glamorous and cool. And then yeah, I'm talking about when I was like 23, 24
Okay.
or whatever. And so I was still just like kind
Baby.
of, yeah, in a wreck and like stupid and whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'd come home and go hang out with like some of my friends, and they'd be like, "Hey, so how's your crazy, incredible life?" And I'd just be like, "I'm miserable every day. And, like, I can't sleep." And,
You're like,
and they're like,
"Okay,
yeah, it like freaks people
see you
out when
later."
they confront the like what's incongruities of social media. I find
Right.
it's like off-putting. But you also,
Yeah, they're like, oh, why are you telling me about the negative?
yeah, but
You're
you
only
also,
supposed to show the
which is also
positive.
unhealthy because people, it's also weird because it's sort of uncomfortable when I think that people don't really know how to react when people post a lot of like negative stuff or like,
Yeah.
and then, but I think that something damaging that social media has caused is like people aren't as they're not as ready to like present themselves as completely three-dimensional people. They just want to be like a highlight reel all the time. And so when people are like human and around you, you're like, oh, I was really only interested in this like topical part of you,
Right.
which is unhealthy.
Yeah, I think it changes the way we view how people should be. Like our expectations change. Like we expect them to be perfect all the time, or how we view them on Instagram all the time. And most of the time when people are hanging out with me, we're not doing anything. We're just like hanging out. It's not like this big party. It happens sometimes, but that's not really the full spectrum of it. I think having this podcast has given me a nice gift in that, strangely, I do have some fans, and people I've walked in my town, at least I've like walked into a spot and somebody's wearing a Psychic Wave t-shirt.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, oh fuck yeah. Or I go, I throw shows at this bar, the same bar all the time, and people will come up to me and say they listen to the podcast, and those people treat me normal because there's like 120 hours of me on the internet talking. So I think they like have a bigger grasp on who I am.
Right.
And I don't like try to hide anything on there. And so those people definitely like treat me how I want to be treated, or treat me in a more familiar way. But at the same time, it's weird when I'm talking to somebody that knows about a story.
Yeah, they know things about you that you didn't tell them.
Yeah, and it's like, there's this guy, he's a buddy of mine now, but this guy, Anthony Twanner is his music name. And first time I met him, he was like, I've listened to every single podcast.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh, cool. And then I, later in the night, I was like telling the story, and he goes, oh yeah, I know. I was like, whoa, dude, you need to not do that. Like,
but also you don't want to, you don't want to feel like people are constantly just going like, oh yeah, really? When they already know about things. That's such a weird, awkward part of modern life, is like deciding whether or not you admit that you know things about people.
Yeah, you're right.
Like when you like see someone you haven't seen in a long time, and they're like, yeah, well, I got married, and you're like, I know. I've seen every photo. Like,
yeah. I stalked your Facebook. Facebook's dying out, I feel.
Good.
Yeah. Facebook was over when my mom asked me to sign her up, I think.
Gotta get out of there.
But yeah, so I guess the long answer to that, or the short answer to that, is, yeah, it's annoying. Social media, having to even just consider it. It's like a child you don't want.
Whoa.
It's like, all right, I gotta feed this thing.
Yeah, it's a necessary evil for sure.
Yeah.
But there's also good. There's good sides.
I like children, by the way. That wasn't like, I just mean like, I was trying to be drastic, trying to do something really over the top.
Yeah.
That's my flaw.
Your genius flaw.
Yeah. Damn it. Oh no. I'm as dumb as I look. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's just my thing. So this is what you get.